No, I haven't done my hair this morning, but you'll have to forgive me for that. But it's going a bit grey, but that's all right. It'll blend out. Yeah, just waiting for my toast to cook. I'm doing a bit of revision for my test today. Got a test at 3:30 in computational problems and mathematics. It's just our maths class, learning logarithms and vectors and fractional equations. Pretty simple stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's all seems a bit like there's some bits in there he's explained, but I've sort of found fault in what he's teaching. I think I don't know. Well, it says 1/3 to the 5 power of 5. And when you do 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 and do 1 over, his answer is I can't remember what his answer was, but it just doesn't look like it adds up the right way. And the way he's done it looks right, but when you do the calculations, it comes out different. So I'm not sure if that's right or not. I mean, teachers can get confused as well, I suppose. Who knows? But I hope he's teaching the right way. Maybe that's why I'm struggling so much, because it just the logic seems off. But I'm not sure. Anyway, I was just thinking about I prepared my life pretty well. Growing up, had a good life, and you take some responsibility for that too. You don't just take always your parents' responsibility. Dad did his best. Mum did a great job at taking care of our needs, and as much as she could. But I also did a good job at raising our family as well. I took over the role of my dad and helped raise my sister, and in a way, I felt that responsibility to be the male role model in our family. So I always felt that bit of pressure when Dad left. So there's my toast. And what I'm trying to say is, I sort of prepared well for things that might happen. I thought ahead of time, and it's not always like I think something bad's going to happen. Oh, gee, I'll go do it and everything will be all right. It's not what I mean, but I always had a good heart and a good mind, and I kept healthy. I didn't take a lot of alcohol or cigarettes or anything. Friends sort of offered this sort of stuff, and I sort of just tried things, and it ended up probably the only thing I should have ever tried was a bit of marijuana, but so more of a naturalist. Then I got introduced by friends to speed. We went to someone's house, and I didn't expect it. I'd never even really heard of it before, and they all started acting strange around the table and laughing, and then they were sort of moving around fast. I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, come on in, join in. I'm like, no, I was scared of what was going on. I was sitting back going, no, I don't want to do that. But in the end, after about an hour or so, they're all sort of acting, laughing. It seemed all right. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And this other guy, Michael, was there, who used to get picked on at school. He was a bit bullied by the whole school at one point, but he got invited out there as well. We always tried to include Michael, because he came late to our school, and I don't know, there was something about him. It was a bit wooden, a bit stiff. And, we'd joke around and laugh, and he kind of wouldn't get the joke, sort of. And I think that's why he got bullied. He sort of didn't quite fit into our mentality. We're a bit, he was from the city. He was a bit straight, I suppose. He liked Celine Dion and stuff like that. We're all into heavy metal and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with liking Celine Dion. But to us, we were like, why do you want Celine Dion, I'm like, come on, listen to a bit of Metallica or AC/DC or, get with the boys. He's like, no, I like Celine Dion. I'm like, all right, Michael, good luck amongst the Mansfield crew. And anyway, he had a few friends, the sort of the dorky sort of friends that we sort of thought of was sort of a bit more straight and dorky. And we probably got on in life. I think Michael got on in life. He got married or whatever happened. But anyway, I always tried to include him, but he ended up getting sort of bullied, probably worse, and he wouldn't quite get the jokes, and he'd get a bit upset. And like I remember, he came round to to our house once. I'm getting to a point. I'm just explaining a few things. But I remember he came around to our place once, around to Paul's place, and well, I was like hiding behind the couch when he come in, and when he come in, I jumped out and surprised him. He nearly had a fucking heart attack. He got so frightened, probably because he's been bullied so long. I didn't think of that, of course, because we're just joking around, as friends. Don't think about anything like that. How someone else might be feeling, you just, in the moment, that's how we lived our lives back then, in the moment. And so Michael nearly had a heart attack. He's sitting on the couch going, because we just jumped out and surprised him. And then, the other boys played a joke on him. I won't tell you what, it was a bit disgusting. He went along with it. You're supposed to say, nah, get fucked, but he didn't. He's gullible, that's his problem, he's gullible. So, anyway, by the end of the night, he was out on the front lawn, telling us all he was having a nervous breakdown, and I think it was all coming out, all his home life problems. He had problems with his family, and anyway, I was just shocked. I was like, far out, Michael, why don't you get help? Why don't you, he's just a kid, he doesn't know how, he's probably just going along with it day to day, thinking what's happening to him was normal, but we throw him on the stack and do stacks on, and you don't want to do it to your mates. So he wasn't one of our mates, so you chuck him on the pile, and then all stack on. People do it to me too. I nearly got my leg green stick fractured being on the bottom once. My leg got caught out, and everyone landed on top of it, and I could feel it bending back the wrong way, and that can really affect your mental state, because it can affect the bone, and then that can affect the way you walk and affect your posture. And I think I did suffer a green stick fracture, like with a bone bent. So I used to have pain stretching my legs, but anyway, so I used to chuck Kate at the bottom. She was, a pretty girl, so we used to try to fondle her bum and everything while she's on the stack. And the stacks on is where we had a couch in our common room. You chuck someone on there, and then all just pile on top. It's called stacks on. I know they probably banned it. So it was all meant good fun, but people take it too far sometimes. I was always just trying to have fun with everyone. But yeah, he used to get thrown on lockers and stuff. I didn't do that sort of stuff to Michael. I just tried to have him include in the fun, but I don't know, he just didn't quite fit in with our group. But he's probably all right with some of the other ones, the ones who used to study and play sort of games in the library. We did that for so long in middle school, and sort of got more playing basketball, and he was good. We used to play basketball with him. He was on the other team, I think. I don't think he was on our team. But yeah, anyway, but he was out there that night. They were taking speed, and he took it as well. And I was out at Cade's house. We went for a big walk up through the Goffs Bay Road, and everything was illuminated, and I'm like, well, this is weird, what's happening? I was trying to joke around, have a laugh, and I got back and I couldn't relax. I was in bed trying to sleep, and I was just, everything was, racing in my body, and I couldn't rest my mind. I said, I'm not doing that ever again. It was horrible, really the whole experience. I don't understand why you put your body at risk like that, because you've got little acids in your brain that if you're taking an acid on a tab or whatever, it can really upset all the acids that the acid processes in your brain, because that's how your brain works, through acid transfers and stuff in your brain. We have little biological acids that work in your mind. But anyway, after that, I was sort of I just had a bad experience there. The other guys probably do it so often they don't give a shit. Maybe they're off their heads, they don't even care. But I've always been very particular about how my body feels, and wanting to feel, physical and visceral, and feel like, blood's pumping through my veins. And I still felt like that back then. I still felt the material, physical world, But my toaster's getting cold, but I'll get back to it. But yeah, the second time round was out at a bush rave. I had acid, or it wasn't speed the next time, it was an LSD or something. And I didn't really want it. I said, all right, you guys go along. I'll be the designated driver. I won't take any drugs. I won't drink or anything, because that's how I like to be, just natural and not affected. I didn't like drinking that much either. It used to make me feel a bit sick, but I like to have a few, but not get blind drunk or anything. But so I said, I'll be the driver. So we dressed up, we put face paint on, we went along, because I like music, I wanted to enjoy the music. So I got invited to this bush rave. I get out there and they're all like starting to take their drugs. I'm like, all right, I'll do it, I'll join in. And I paid them some money and got one of the things. And anyway, it was horrific. I was having hallucinations that the ground was turning to fire, and the ground was turning to electrical volts that were going to sting me. And because this guy was walking around setting a bit of lighter fluid on fire and sort of spitting people out, and I saw the ferns were sort of loving me, and I was sitting there patting these ferns like they're animals, and it was quite a horrible experience, really. When I think back, it was not enjoyable. I just, excuse me, sorry, I'm always yawning, but yeah, just not an experience I really went looking for. I wanted, it was horrible, really. When I look back, it was not a good experience that I really fondly remember or want to remember. But on the way back, my legs were cramping up, and I had to drive, and I'm trying to drive, and my legs were cramping. I couldn't sort of I couldn't bend my legs; they were stiffened out. I'm saying, I'm not doing that again. Why do you keep trying to get me on drugs, And anyway, the third time was one that tipped me over the edge. This was months later, and I get a call out of the blue. I'm studying at uni, trying to finish my essays for the mid-year. My third year, I was nearly finished my degree, and it was an arts degree and creative arts, and sort of doing filmmaking and stuff. And so I get a call out of the blue. Oh, you have to drive us because a friend's going to Queensland and he can't drive us, and you're the only one who can take us to this rave down at this amusement park. And so I'm like, all right, whatever. Because I sort of said, no, I can't do it. I've got exams and essays to do. And they sort of conned me into going. And anyway, long story short, I took the drug, and someone told me I was dead while I was under the influence of it. And they were flipping out at me. And I flipped over and I saw sort of the spirit world for a minute. I just sort of flicked and saw myself as creator above, looking down on the earth, and so that was my connection, was sort of the highest sort of spirit watching the earth. Like, there was nothing really above me, it was just space, and I was watching everyone else. Just for a moment I saw it, and I remember that feeling of being the highest sort of spiritual power on earth. And I never thought of myself as anything. I thought maybe I was unique in some way, but I never thought of myself as being a Christ or being a creator. I never thought that far until that happened. So it sort of flipped me over into the spirit world, and I saw my spiritual being was probably the biggest, greatest spirit on earth. And so yeah, I came back down to earth, and then I had to try and evaluate that whole experience and put it into context, and which just tore me into fear, terror, really, of what had happened. I'd gone from being physical all of a sudden to becoming spiritual. I was still in my body, but my awareness had shot out to where the creator was. I was this creator on earth. And really, you shouldn't experience it like that. It should be a beautiful feeling you experience in love with your wife, The end result's the same. You end up in heaven, but I ended up without my wife. So because I was always a good person. I never went out to harm anyone. Always had good intentions in my heart, to have fun, enjoy life, be in love, all these sort of things, try and enjoy life and support people. And over the time I learned to help others, that even these qualities come out. And what I'm trying to say is get to the point that I think it's natural for the physical world to pass away. I think after a while, what happens is the spirit world starts to come into reality, and a lot of our dreams are based on that premise, the magic and sort of mystery and mythology and all this stuff coming into being into this world, I think it will eventually become a spiritual world, and which is a greater strength than the physical world. The physical world will get consumed eventually, and the spirit world will take over as the new reality. And I think beyond that, even beyond that, is the superpower world will then follow that. So sort of not really dimensional shit. I suppose you could say they're different dimensions, but like the physical, spiritual, superpower, and beyond. Whatever's beyond that, I'd say probably beyond that's the magical world of something. So it'll become a magical world. But yeah, that's sort of why I said that my being had taken over the universe in a way, because I saw that my spirit was connected to everything out there, and it's almost like terraforming or transforming the world into this spiritual domain. The whole universe is becoming spiritual, and which people think is less than physical, but it's not. It's stronger and more powerful, but it's also more potential in the spirit world than there is in the physical. The physical is very simple. It's two products come together to create a new division. So two come together to create one, and then those two come together to create one, and those two. So it's almost like half of one and half of another's coming together to create a whole based on two other halves. So you're creating a new whole from two other halves. That's all the physical world is your mum and dad come together to create you as a new whole. And in that, all your cells are dividing and carrying on and creating other divisions, and then you create a new whole again from that sort of reverse energy of division, creating a new whole. So that's the whole energy reverse potential becoming something new. So equal and opposite energy of division of cells becoming the one whole again as a person. And it happens in nature, it happens in the physical world. Certain materials or elements will come together to create a new element. It's not very often that it happens, but it can happen. Sort of amalgamation of because rocks, this might come as a shock, but rocks are as alive as we are, but they move really slowly. Eventually they change, whereas we move rapidly. Probably the fastest, most rapidly changing thing in our solar system is probably light. Changes really, really quickly, and then from that coming down into other animals, and then us, and then, well, not animals, other sort of faster moving sort of things, probably air and things like that. Then we're sort of in the middle, and then beyond that's water, and then or maybe water's beyond, just ahead of us, or then it's us, and then it works its way all the way down to the things in the universe that seem stable, they don't move at all, but everything is living, everything's alive, but and it all has spirit, and it's all transforming very slowly. So light will transform first, probably, or energy, or lighter energy, those sort of things that we sort of perceive, and then we'll follow. We're following sort of almost imagination, and thought is part of that too, that transforms very quickly. It's very rapid thought. So that's kind of an energy or a light in our mind, thought, that we see and we perceive, and we'll follow that, and eventually the rocks will change, and that's when you'll end up with these rock lords that will come out of the ground. They'll speed up and become spiritualized, and it can happen, all this stuff. I mentioned how Elon will be a rock lord. I'm just joking around with him, but Elon Musk, but eventually those spirits will come out of the rocks and create these beings that will come out of rocks and then slowly transform into other things. And it might happen over 1,000,000 years, but eventually it will happen when the universe is transformed into spirit. Slowly it will happen. The sun will become spiritual, probably last. The sun will be last. You know, those fireballs will be the last thing to transform. And then from there, the superpower world, everything will be superpowered and supported by that. And so yeah, this whole spiritual thing is nothing to be afraid of. And the spirit world is greater than the physical world. It's more powerful than that. So there's worlds out there being born beyond even the superpower, and magical worlds will slowly come into reality. I think before the physical world, there probably would have been a world that's more like, because the formation of the world's all mystical and gases and things are whooshing around, and slowly over time form becomes more real. Form becomes more real out of chaos. You know, you get more form, more order. The world will get more ordered towards the superpower world, and it might even come back around and start again. There might be a circle, or it might just be an endless journey that keep going on, sort of like a eternal sort of movement towards something new all the time. But I just wanted to get that point across, that I was sort of prepared for this sort of coming up to it, that I would take on this physical sort of change and be a bit of an influence. And it's not a bad thing, though. You shouldn't think of a spirit world as a bad thing. It's more powerful than it's like God coming into being into the world. That's what God is, a spiritual sort of reality. So yeah, don't be worried about it if that's what's worrying you. You know, it's perfectly natural to feel more spiritualized and more sort of in touch with that side of ourselves. You know, I think that's why they say, you know, eventually death will pass away, because we won't be so concerned with going from physical to spiritual back to physical again, to make that journey through birth. You know, we more just be able to do it with our own power, you know, our own godly power, be able to rebirth ourselves if we need to, or live as long as we want, or whatever. I just think that's the possibilities. So yeah, hope you enjoy that, and I hope that message gets out to people. No one's blocking my movies or anything. I know my hair's not perfect, but that's just the way I am. And why is it any different than accepting black people, or accepting fat people, or accepting disabled people? You know, I'm a unkept people. Ungroomed, unkept. So what? I'm not married, so